What's up, guys? John from HeavySet Tactical here. Today I'd like to talk to you about a knife that I was really excited to get in the mail. Took a little bit getting here. Um, I'm going to talk about a couple things very briefly today. Some super steel. I'm going to talk about super steels a little bit, and most of the knives that I enjoy the most reviewing for you guys are knives that you can, and kind of the everyday, whether you're blue or white collar, whatever the money you make, because I'm certainly not well off. I'm certainly not rich by any standards of the word. Anyone can go out and buy them. Usually between $100 and $200 is a really great range to be in. My favorite knives are usually between $200 and $300. But we're gonna start experimenting and doing some videos. I'm gonna still keep to that kind of middle level, which to a lot of people is an extremely high level. For me, when I first started, S35 VN steel was a super high level steel, and a lot of the knives from tactical to bushcraft or heavy use knives I have are S35 VN steel. But your 1095s and your high carbons are awesome too. But I certainly like, in the climate I live in central Pennsylvania kind of area, I like stainless. I like to know that kind of no matter what, it could rust in some severe conditions, but kind of no matter what, as long as I'm keeping my sheath and knife dry, it's not going to rust. So I bid further ado. This is the Bark River Bushcrafter that I got in green polished micarta. Ooh, let me wipe it off. Sometimes when you put it back in the sheath, it gets a couple smudges. This is the Bark River Bushcraft. And if you can see there, it says Bark River Knives. This is the Bark River Bushcraft in CPM 3V steel. Man, not only a beautiful knife, was a highly recommended knife. Everybody that I kind of talk to online and that I know, they know that I am a bushcraft kind of outdoorsman oriented type person. A lot of the knives that I get, I use for woodwork, feather sticking, fire starting, wood maintaining, wood breaking down wood at a campsite, and general camp tasks. So as long as you're outside and you're around a campfire with some tents and some food, whatever you really need to maintain that atmosphere, from that level to like the surviving apocalypse level, is kind of where I live in there. So a lot of the knives I have are very tactical use knives, and very kind of live in the best of both, from tactical to hard, wood processing and campfire usage. So I'm going to go over some specs real quick. This is the Bark River Bushcrafter. The blade length is 3 7/8, so it's the blade length is 3 7/8. The thickness is 0.14 inches, so it's got a decent thickness to it. For a bushcrafting knife, and not labeled as a survival or door prying knife, it's pretty thick. So a 0.14 inch thickness, or 5/32. The overall length is 8.6 inches, so it's 8 5/8. The steel is CPM 3V, which I mentioned earlier, and this is in a drop point Scandivex. So most original old school bushcraft knives are what's called a Scandi grind. So right at about the point that this grind, the secondary grind is here, this primary grind line here. So it goes from the flat blade and then straight down to a perfect V, which allows you to grab a lot of meat when you're processing wood. It's a really, really great, pretty slicey grind. Now I have a couple Scandi ground knives. I really do like them, but This is a Scandi Vex or a convex Scandi. So it is essentially that same grind, V grind at the bottom, but instead of being a straight cut on either side, it bows out to a point. And before, the other convex edge I had the other day was the Falkneven F1 or S1X that I showed you guys. I also have the A1 Pro. This is like just a different variant of the convex grind, and it's at the level of a Scandi. So it's a very kind of very select knife. It takes meat off of wood, you know, from sticks to logs, splits, you know, it just grabs, and it feather sticks like a dream. And this knife is 7 ounces, which is, you know, pretty light. I mean, it's got a pretty good heaviness to it for being as small as it is, but it's not bad. So I'm also going to talk about a little later how, you know, generally I like knives that have that are heavy-handled, you know, for woodworking and bushcraft tasks. I like being able to get a full grip on there and maybe even have some sticking out the back in case I have to adjust my grip depending on what the grip I'm using is. This knife is crazy. So it comes with this really great leather sheath. It does not come with a fire stick, you know, a ferro rod, but it has a really great ferro rod holder on the side, and then kind of a horizontal and vertical, 2 vertical places to hang, you know, kind of a low hanger and then a medium high ride here. I didn't think I was gonna like this sheath because it's the first one I have that doesn't have a longer back that goes against your body, but I really love the sheath. Great grab. You know, the knife is not going anywhere. Now, I wanted to just, real quick while I bring up the sheath, I wanted to talk about, I seal all my boots, my leather jackets, and my leather sheaths with Snow Seal. This is a $7, maybe an $8 can, 10 at the most off of Amazon. It's a 7-ounce can. It's called Snow Seal. It's a beeswax type of based paste that doesn't have much of a smell to it. Smells a little chemically, but you know, you heat the leather up with a hairdryer till it's, you know, pretty warm to the touch, and then rub that on in a thick coat, and then I'll probably wait a day and do one more thick coat, and just rub it in. So this sheath actually came more of like a lighter tan, kind of like maybe the light tan you guys can see there a little bit, not as tan as the inside, but when I originally got it, it was pretty light. So again, I would really like to talk for a second about super steels. So this is made in CPM 3V, which is a newer steel to me. I don't have a lot of knives that are made in CPM 3V. You know, it's one of the lower end super steels. So when we talk super steels, I'm talking about, you know, from the top down, Magna Cut, Crewwear, M390, K390 steel, CPM 3V, CPM 4V, CPM M4. There's a lot of great new steels. You know, Crewwear, Magna Cut, those guys are new steels. But as far as steels that I trust and people I know are about this life trust, CPM 3V is exactly kind of the level I want to be at. Magna Cut and Crewwear can be at the point where unless you have a very certain way to sharpen your knife outdoors, you're kind of screwed. Now, I like the convex edges and a lot of specific knives that I have for one reason, and that reason is maintaining them in the field with a strop. I have maybe a $50 2-inch by 8-inch leather strop. It's 2-sided. You know, picture this if it was 2 inches by 8 inches, which it almost is. And it's a leather board with a handle about that thick, exactly. And then on either side is a piece of leather about this thick. And you rub, there's a couple different compounds you can get for them. You know, it usually comes with 3 colors, white, brown, and green. You know, the green is more of like the midpoint polishing / sharpening level of grit. You know, each color's a different grit. So I like being able to maintain my knives with a strop. So CPM 3V, let me explain. Most convex edges aren't very slicey. They're not really made for cutting paper. Now this, I want to see. I don't think it's very sharp right now because I was using it again. Yeah, see? Super sharp. It's, most convexes, oh no, there's not. It was cutting super good. So anyway, make a long story short, I'm not much of a prove a point by paper cutting because it all depends on a lot of things. Now, knife sharpness and ability, there's a lot of factors. There's the geometry, there's the heat treat of the metal and the steel that you're using, and you know, your angles and grinds. What type of blade type is it? What kind of grind is on it? I got this knife out of the box and it wasn't cutting paper very well. You know, usually I do that a little bit to kind of check the sharpness of a blade. It wasn't cutting paper that well. So I took it outside. You know, I know convexes don't come in the box that sharp. So I took it outside and I got, you know, maybe an hour of carving in with it. Made some tent pegs, shaved some bark off some branches, you know, baton maybe 2 or 3 quick logs. About an hour of usage, right? So I bring the knife inside, and I remember how my Fallkniven SX1 and A1 Pro functioned, and they did really well with a strop. So this is a convex Scandi, a ScandiVex grind. So I take my strop, cover it with green compound, and I go, you know, maybe 8 and 8. I do, you know, maybe I stopped for maybe it took, the whole process took about 5 minutes flat. And this knife went from okay and very functionable on the wood. You know, just because it doesn't shave, or I mean, just because it doesn't shave paper very well doesn't mean it's not extremely sharp on wood, which it was. It did its job extremely well. I stropped it. The process took maybe 5 minutes. I stropped it a little longer, about twice the length of time that I would the S35VN, which is a lot softer. And when I tell you that this knife is and was so sharp, so extremely sharp after I stropped it, it was absolutely ridiculous. It was almost scary how fast this knife sharpened up with just a leather strop, a good leather strop, mind you. You know, there's a lot of cheap $10 ones out there that are only 3 inches long. Get a nice 8 or 10 inch, you know, 6 to 10 inch and 2 inch thick, at least 2 inches wide. So, yeah, I just want to end on the fact that I really love these knives. I'm starting to get into a couple higher end builds and some customs that are coming. I ordered a GSO 5.1, which I'm really excited to show you guys more of the crew wear and Magna Cut and some K390 level super steels. They're just a level above CPM 3V. So at one point in time, I really like watching DBK, the Dutch Bushcrafter knives. You know, those guys are wild. They're on YouTube, and you guys know I like Gideon's Tactical. Gideon's Tactical uses functional, affordable knives for the most part. He has a lot of high-end ones. There's a knife that I don't see anybody using except for Gideon's Tactical, and it's made by a newer company called Reef Knives. So I ordered 2 of those. I'm really excited to check them out with you guys and put them through some paces. And I can't wait to get out and start reviewing more of the tactical and long-term survival gear that I do have, and shoot some footage of that. But you know, as far as this is my first Bark River knife, and as far as Bark River goes, you know, they're you know, they like to say semi. I've heard the term semi-custom a lot. You know, they're a production line, but they have a lot of hands-on stuff. A lot of times, like right here in the corner pitch there, you know, a lot of times the grind is going to be off a little bit, or some sides of the Scandi are going to be a little off. This one is actually pretty darn good. You know, now that I look at it, yeah, it's dead on, and the tip is good. As long as the tip's good and the grind's good, I'm very happy. There's a little funny kind of swedging in the center point there, which, you know, you guys can probably see. But as far as the handle geometry and the comfort of the knife, This Scandi Vex is lightning. I mean, just freaking razor crazy sharp. And I really like the sheath. So I'm super happy with the purchase. Let me get a price point here. These knives are going right now. I use two things, Blade HQ and Knife Connection. Blade HQ is phenomenal, but a lot of times they're kind of 50-50 bushcraft and tactical. You know, they do not have a lot of Bark River or LT Wright type knives. So, you know, I haven't done a video on it because it's a lot smaller. I just wanted to show you guys. This is one of my pocket knives. Comes with a great leather sheath. This is the Frontier First in 01 tool steel by, you know, pretty handcrafted knife by LT Wright. They make some really great original Scandi broomstick handle, fat handle, Scandi grind bushcrafting knives. I think I have one of them at the house. I was going to do a video on it with this, but yeah, good knives as far as Bark River. Good knives, good sheaths, good deals. Right now, I've been using the Knife Connection TKC. Great site. I trust them. Their shipping is almost, honestly, some knives come a little faster than Blade HQ. 3 days at the most. This is going right now in this exact CPM 3V. Now, one thing about Bark River knives, you can get them in all kinds of steel, all kinds of sheaths, all kinds of steel, all kinds of handles, a lot of custom materials in the handles. This is the polished micarta, which I really love the feeling of. Fits my fat, chunky hands pretty well. You can get them in all types. CPM 3V is one of my favorite steels. You know, you could baton a brick with this thing and still put an edge back on it with a strop. It's pretty serious stuff. But on the Knife Connection website right now, which I'll leave a link down in the description for, they're going for $253.95. You know, this one I had to wait and get the scales I wanted. The price was a little different, but you can get the, now there's the Bushcrafter and then the Bushcrafter 2, which is a ½ an inch longer maybe. But for the CPM 3V, it is a premium steel. You know, you can get a knife very similar to this one on TKC, the Knife Connection, for about $260, $270. You know, I have a couple coming that are a little higher than that, more like $310. Great knives for within the $300 range, and I really love them. Strikes a fire steel like a madman. So again, this is John from HeavySet Tactical. Thanks for listening to me rant. I appreciate you guys watching my videos and subscribing. You know, I do all of this kind of for the shits and giggles. You know, any knives you guys want to see or any differences you want me to make in your opinions on things, you know, give me a shout in the comments. And again, I'll drop some, down in the subscription, I'll drop some links for this very knife and some like it. So you guys have a great day, great week. Stay safe and stay heavy.